Hello world and welcome to Plane Time. I'm Ben Coleman, your host for Plane Time 25. Today coming to you live and in the clear with the Florida Aviation Network, a project of the National Aviation Safety Foundation. And we're here coming to you from the Oviedo Mall, and this is Gizmo USA, Gizmo Productions at USA. Thank you, Mike, for all that you do to help us. And Plane Time is a maintenance-based safety presentation, is the best way to put it. By trade, I'm an aircraft mechanic. I fly, but I'm a mechanic by nature, by trade, and we like to fix things. And today, we can't fix anything that's not broken. You ever heard that term? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We have the opportunity to have a gentleman that I've known for a number of years, and he has aspired to one of the top position at Sun and Fun, if anybody's ever heard of Sun and Fun. But he's also done some changes at Sun and Fun and instituted some new ideas and thoughts that we're going to discuss with you here today. But I'm talking to you about Mr. Gene Conrad. I'd like to stick my hand out.
How are you, sir? Good
Gene,
to see you. Thanks for having me.
I'm doing great. And Gene, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I mean that sincerely. I'm not just buttering you up for a job. But if you need anybody, Gene, Sun and Fun has, last year was the big 5-0.
Yes.
And there's a lot of things that you did, and we'll get more into your background as we produce this. But there's a lot that went into place to make number 5-0 the big 5-0, and it was a tremendous show. Congratulations, and it was very successful. Could you tell me how successful it was in numbers?
Well, it's always hard to say, but let me preface my comments, reference Sun and Fun last year with appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Appreciate all the Florida Aviation Network folks that are here as well. It's a lot to produce this each and every time that I'm here, so I appreciate the opportunity to be here. But the 50th was a great show for us, but obviously it was not just me, it was my team and also our over 3,000 volunteers that help us put on that event each year, or our event each year. So it was a great time. We had over 200,000 people that showed up and participated with us, and over 500 exhibitors, and really leading up to the 50th, it is quite the process. Whether it's the 50th or it's now the 51st that we're getting ready to embark on here in April, it is quite the process. But really what we had done to prepare ourselves for the 50th was really institute a lot of changes on the ground and operationally back in 49 for our 49th Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo. So we instituted a lot of changes then, some more for the 50th. This year for our 51st, which our theme is Turn Up the Fun at 51. Because we're really riding the wave coming off of our 50th. It's really refining how we operate and the things that we instituted over the last 2 years to be prepared and ready for our guests and to give them the best experience when they join us April 1st through 6th here in Lakeland, Florida. Coming up here, I want to say it's 72, 73 days, whatever it is now.
But who's counting?
Well, I'm counting because we actually have a countdown clock in our office, but again, can't do it without our over 3,000 volunteers. That come and join us each and every year. It is a phenomenal event. It's all about family, camaraderie, and aviation. And we're just fortunate that, we got through our 50th safe and sound, a record year for us, but we're also looking forward to our 51st. Again, as we're already looking at, last year was a record number of exhibitors last year. We're already outpacing last year, and we're outpacing ticket sales as well. So already. So what does all that mean? I don't know. Hopefully it means it's successful 51st for us.
Well, Gene, I gave you a good segue to bring up those numbers, but
yes.
Gene, the reason that it's so important to have those good numbers is the impact that it's having on the industry, the local community given, but the industry in general, in the world, because this is a worldwide event.
Yes.
Did you know that, Bo?
I do know that. We have over 60 countries represented each year at the flying.
And,
I got all the numbers you want.
But we're bringing in and introducing a new group of people into the industry. And that's why, and it's not just about the numbers and the big ticket sales, and some people say, well, it's not all about the money. Well, it's not all about the money, but without the money, we couldn't do what you have done.
Yep.
And it gives you the opportunity with your team, which I just can't just go on enough about how successful you have been. Not only, Gene, there's some people that don't realize that you grew up in an aviation family, if you will.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your background in a little place called AirVenture. Used to be called Oshkosh.
Oshkosh. Yes. Well, long story short, I was born in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. My father ran the airport there when I was a kid, so I was very fortunate to grow up around folks like Steve Whitman, Paul Poberezny, Tom Poberezny, you name it. I could name drop all day long. But I was very fortunate to grow up in that environment. We lived there till I was 11 years old. My father was an airport director for 30 years. We ended up moving to Huntsville, Alabama, where he ran the airport there for several years. And then before he passed away in 2005, he was the airport director at Dayton, Ohio. So kind of cool that Oshkosh to Huntsville, Space and Rocket Center, then to Dayton, the home of the Wright brothers. So very fortunate, but that's why I'm here in Lakeland, because when the airport job in Lakeland came open, I was the airport director at Lakeland for 12 years, but when the job came open there back in 2009, learned about it actually when I was volunteering up at AirVenture. I volunteered there for the last 36 years, but applied, got the job, drove into town into Lakeland in January 2010, but the only reason I even looked at that job to come and run the airport was because Son of Fun was there because of my upbringing. So that was it. But what has happened over not only my tenure, well before my time as well, just to kind of put in context for folks a little bit, you can see on my shirt here, Aerospace Center for Excellence, and a lot of folks probably still don't know what that is. They know us for the Son of Fun Aerospace Expo, but the Aerospace Center for Excellence is our parent company. We have two 501c3s. We have the Aerospace Center for Excellence, which is, again, the parent company, and then we have the Son of Fun Aerospace Expo. But the net proceeds, everything that we generate off of the flying, go back into our year-round educational programming at the Aerospace Center for Excellence, which is a lot of things. I mean, we could probably spend several hours talking about all of the programming and what we do at the Aerospace Center for Excellence, but I have a team of 12 folks, that run all of our educational programming. Obviously, we have the Central Florida Aerospace Academy, which hopefully everybody's familiar with, that sits right across the street from my offices, where we have close to 400 kids in that program in our high school, which is, again, a very important program. We have the Lakeland Aero Club on the Son of Fun Expo campus, which is our high school flying club. So they have their own 12,500 square foot hangar that they operate out of, their own fleet of aircraft, Piper Cubs, gliders as well. They're a big program for us, but they have a grass strip that they're able to use that we use during the fly-in, that they use year-round actually to do flight training and to fly on and off of. We also have Travis Career College and our AMP program. That is on our campus as well, but also back in 2021, through the efforts of John Leanhout's Lights, and the team and everybody at Son of Fun, even prior to my time, we built the Skylab Innovation Center, which is now attached to the Florida Air Museum. So these are our 5 purpose-built labs, all STEM-based education, but we have the Redbird Flight Simulation Lab, our Siemens Aerospace Engineering Lab, our drone lab. We have the Science on the Sphere, and then obviously the museum is the 5th lab. But this year, in partnership with Lakeland International Airport, Bartow Executive Airport, and Winter Haven Regional Airport, they all gave us funding. So we have 4,000 5th through 8th graders coming through our Skylab Innovation Center this year. So what does that mean? We are busing in these kids from all over Polk County. I said Polk. Sometimes I slip that out. Polk County. But we are busing these kids from all over the county in for 2.5 hour, 3 hour field trips every Wednesday and Thursday and Friday this year. And it's important to get these kids as soon as possible. When I say that, our mantra is cradle to cockpit at the Aerospace Center for Excellence, and we are getting them in the cradle actually, because at the Florida Air Museum now we have the story time, which is 10 a.m. each Tuesday. Also on Mondays at 9 a.m. we have STEM Sprouts, so we're getting these kids even at 6 weeks old. We've had parents bring their kids out because the 2-year-old they just had another kid, but we're getting them soon at 6 weeks. But 2 to 5-year-olds through story time, and then STEM Sprouts is for our 3 to 5-year-olds. So great programming, but again, want to get them as soon as possible. But I mention all of these things because everybody's participation in Son and Fun helps us do this every single year and grow this programming. Something else that's very, very important that we're working with in conjunction with AOPA. If folks are aware, AOPA built the high school curriculum that's in thousands of high schools across the United States. In conjunction with AOPA, my team, they're very smart people, have built the middle school curriculum. Right, so it's being beta tested in several middle schools across the country right now, and for year 1, and then year 2 they're finishing up. My team's finishing up right now. So you have AOPA in their high school curriculum, and you now have the Aerospace Center for Excellence in our middle school curriculum that will be out there throughout the United States. So those are the types of things that we're doing on a year-round basis, because trust me, people are like, well, you left the airport and now you're over at Sun and Fun. What do you do the rest of the year? Because you probably just plan it for a couple months and do all that. But the flying itself is a beast, and we're constantly working on the flying to refine it, to plan for it, to get ready. But the other 51 weeks out of the year too, we're also focused on the Aerospace Center for Excellence and our educational efforts, to get young people engaged, whether they want to be pilots or not. But we need mechanics,
engineers.
Right? We need engineers, we need air traffic controllers, we need marketing folks. I mean, there's, in aviation, there's all types of opportunities, and we just want to make the door as wide as possible to help young people get engaged and get involved. Our mission at the Aerospace Center for Excellence is to engage, educate, and accelerate the next generation of aerospace professionals, and hopefully we're doing a good job with that. We have very mature programming, but again, everybody's participation at Sun and Fun, you're giving back to all of those efforts, so we appreciate everybody's participation each year.
Gene, the way that you memorized that speech is just remarkable.
It's not, I didn't memorize, I just live it, eat, and breathe it every single day, so that's what we do.
Here's the next problem I'm going to be seeing. Too many people in aviation.
I can only hope we get there. That would be great.
The competition has got to be tremendous, and we do need to discuss the merit, excellence, and innovation, the MEI that's about to come to fruition. Merit-based, and I think you and your organization there, your team, if you will, is kind of exemplifies the merit-based. If you're good at what you do and the best at what you do, we want you. And I see that, and every time I see you interact with your staff and your team, and your team is also the volunteers. Without the volunteers,
we are nothing.
It would not happen. So the merit-based it's our obligation as the old timers, and someday I'm going to get old, and we need to put that back into the industry. And we all hear the term pay it back or give back. That's not just a slogan. So I'm anxious to get people to come to us at the Florida Aviation Network and say, I would like to do that someday. We can make that happen. Obi Young, the staff, as a matter of fact, I'm looking here, I don't see anybody paid except for Bob. No, that was a joke. Anyway, we have fun here, and we get a lot done, and we try to do it to a high standard. And you have exemplified that with the Aerospace Center for Excellence. And that used to be hard to remember. It's not hard to remember anymore. It kind of rolls off the tongue. And your staff there is to be thanked, but it takes leadership. And that's a pat on the back for you.
I mean, I appreciate it, but again, it is the team, obviously, and, again, our volunteers, think about it. I mean, 50 years for our organization and what we have today and all those things I just described that we do on a year-round basis. I mean, what we have in Lakeland at the Lakeland International Airport on the Sun and Fun Expo campus does not exist anywhere else in the world, period. And I'm happy for someone to try to find it and challenge me on that, but it doesn't exist. But it exists because of the love, the blood, sweat, and the tears, and the passion that people have for aviation, the volunteers, all the folks that have come before me, obviously, whether it was John Burton, it was Lights Leanhouse, it was Billy Henderson, obviously Billy, huge reason why we even exist here today, and all the pioneers, that put our programs together and put Sun and Fun together. And, whether it's, obviously the flying started on the north side of the airport back in 1975.
I was there.
And in 1977, it shifted to where we are on the southwest side of the airport now. But all the work that had to go in to clear the grounds and, get it ready to what it is today, we could not have done it without them. But, hopefully they are proud of what exists today. And I'm only the steward of that at this point, but I always tell my team, we're not perfect, but we're going to put in perfect effort. I mean, because we're going to make mistakes, right? But we put in perfect effort and we try really, really hard each day. And, hopefully people can see, by what's being produced and what we do for our young people and can get on board and support that, because it is important. And we're only one of many organizations. Obviously, AOPA is out there, EAA, other just towns and municipalities and other organizations in aviation that are trying to do big things. But when we have people come in, our programs have matured because we've been here for quite a long time. But we'll have folks and organizations from around the country come visit us, and then you want to see. And we always tell them, it's easy to build stuff. Show me the money, I'll build you whatever you want. That's easy. But really, what we have today, it's about getting the people on board, getting people, the right-minded people, all rowing in the same direction. That's how we have gotten to where we are today. It is not easy. Again, we tell these organizations and cities that come, you got to get people rowing in the same direction, because if you think about it, it is the cities, it is the airports, it is the public schools. Our partnership with Polk County Public Schools is phenomenal. We could not do what we do without them, just to get the approval to get all the 5th and 8th graders that we can pay for busing, to get it to where it's so easy for the teachers in 5th or 8th grade. There's no approval. It's a blanket approval. If they want to go, they schedule and they come. But to get people on board, building departments, the cities, the FAA, it's like we built a high school on an airport. When I was running the airport, that's not always, there's not always a big smile for that. Sometimes it's frowned upon, not because they don't want to do it. It's just there are regulations in place. We have to protect for runway protection zones, other things. There's noise, all the litany of things. But we were very fortunate to have everybody on board and rowing in the same direction. And why I say this too, it's important because now we're looking as the Aerospace Center for Excellence. We have our high school on the Lakeland campus. There's a Central Florida Aerospace Academy, Winter Haven, right? So now there's two, right? So in 2023, following actually the fly-in, we did a ribbon cutting at the Winter Haven Airport. So there are 250 kids in portables over there now in partnership with Polk County Public Schools. But we are working diligently with our partners to build another high school at the Winter Haven Airport that looks just like ours in Lakeland. So to house these kids, 400 more kids in this high school, and so we're working diligently to get that done. But again, if you think about Polk County, what's happening in Central Florida, it just doesn't exist anywhere else.
We would be remiss if we didn't mention James C. Ray.
James, Mr. Ray.
And the foundation.
Yes. The Ray Foundation, tremendous supporters of what we do. They donated $7.5 million to us back in 2010 to build the Central Florida Aerospace Academy. To just come in and see our programming that Rick Garcia, John Small, Rick Garcia with Gulf Coast Avionics, John Small at the time was with Polk County Public Schools. Again, just leaders in their fields pushing, to get it done. So they started the Central Florida Aerospace Academy in 2008. Yeah. Mr. Ray came to our campus, saw the programming, literally that day sat down and wrote a check for $7.5 million and said, get this thing built. So we did that. And in 2011, we did the ribbon cutting at the fly-in. And then here we are, 14 years later, however long it's been. It's amazing.
You knocked it out of the park, but the park is getting bigger.
Yes.
So we got to hit harder.
Yes.
And there's only one man that I know more excited about what's going on there than you, if you can believe it or not. That's Mr. Fred Hyde.
Oh yeah, Superintendent Hyde. He is a tremendous supporter. His father was in aviation. I believe he was an aviation mechanic.
He was a parts sorter, actually. Yep. They sold parts down at Fort Lauderdale area, Miami. And he would literally take aircraft apart, put them on the shelf, and piece them out. And that's how he learned a lot about aviation. And it was just a pleasure getting to know a lot more about Fred, just the superintendent. He's not an administrator. Well, he is, but he's not just an administrator. So,
yeah, but he's very hands-on, and I will say we are very blessed. Again, you have to have the right people in the right seats at the right time. And for what we're embarking on in Winter Haven, to have him there and an understanding and an appreciation and a love for what we do, very, 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 very helpful.
It's the planets are aligning. And by the way, did you know the 25th of this month, all the planets will align?
I did not know that.
You know it now.
I do. So I will be paying attention.
Saturday, I forget what time exactly, but the planets will all align.
Well, I'll have to tell my 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old, because My little guy, Jake, he can actually, if you showed him a picture, you can show him on your phone in whatever order you want of any planet. At 4 years old, he can name them all.
Wow.
And he will get it done 100%. I took people into Skylab, there at our headquarters, and into Science on the Sphere, and we just put up the planets, and he just named them off, and I'm just proud papa sitting there listening to this stuff. So he wants to go to Mars one day. So with what Elon Musk is doing and all that, who knows? He may be there.
Hey, there are no limits. It's only personal limits. But you just mentioned the sphere. And people don't realize, unless you walk into that room and see the sphere, you can't appreciate what it's really bringing to us. And it's remarkable.
Yes.
Things in a museum. The museum has been there for many, many years. It's changed a little bit. Is it going to be changing more?
Yes, well, it has changed, obviously, over the years. I believe the museum opened back in 1992. We have some tremendous assets that we are stewards of that are in the museum, great exhibits, but I will tell you...
Anything from Howard Hughes there?
Yes, we do have a whole litany of Howard Hughes memorabilia and all of these artifacts that were delivered to us many years ago, well over a decade ago, but we are stewards of that. But with the museum, we're going to embark on an effort over the next several years, to really reimagine the museum, and we're going to be doing that by redoing a lot of the exhibits. So a lot of the aircraft in there will stay. They will be part of what we're doing. But really, if you think about Lakeland, what's happening there, we're the fastest growing county in the state, if not top 5 in the United States over the last several years. So just right around the airport, there's been over 3,000 homes built. So we have new families that are there. But we are going to really make an effort to reimagine our exhibits there, make them more interactive, because we want people to keep coming back to us, get those young families in there, and get the young people, because they want to touch on screens, they want to learn, but it needs to be more interactive for them. So we're going to invest probably about $1.4 million into our exhibits over the next several years. Not to take away from what we've been and what we have, just to enhance and make it more interactive for our guests moving forward.
Gene, I think we're getting close to making it. When people that are looking for real estate, looking for buying a house, I like to hear people say, do you have something a little closer to the airport?
Oh, do they? I don't know about that. I mean,
rather than, because that's really not noise in the sky. That's music.
Well, it's music to my ears, and I live right next to the airport, actually, but when I used to run the airport, people don't necessarily like airplane noise, so it's unfortunate that they're not all like us. But it's just something you got to deal with. But I live right next to the airport, so
they just need learning. We need to learn them.
Yes.
But
I think if I could, because I was a former airport director, I think it is important when people say, you see on social media when people talk about noise and they're addressing or they're upset with it. I think what's important for people to understand that are actually defending the airports is it's not the people that live right next to the airport. Yes, they complain from time to time, but I think it's important to understand the patterns of the aircraft, right? And so when you think about it at Lakeland specifically, we have 1028, that's the big runway. We're essentially a one runway airport once the sun comes up and flight schools get going. But there is, people complain 3.5, 4 miles out from the approach, right? Into whether it's the 10 end or 28. And there's a reason for that, because these aircraft are going over the top of them again and again and again and again. And so we can't discount them, even though they don't live right next to the airport. They are impacted by that, but they are rather high when they're coming in at 3.5, 4 miles out. They're probably 2,000, 1,500 feet as they're descending. But we do have to take that into account and be sensitive to that. But also our communities need to pay attention to that and also help educate people in these zones before they buy, that they know what's coming. So, because we caught a lot of grief as the airport is developed in Lakeland, why are there big airplanes there now? Well, the runway is extended 8,500 feet back in 1994. So there was a plan for larger aircraft to come, because you don't need 8,500 feet for Cessna 172s and Piper Cubs. I mean, you don't need it for that. But so anyway, sorry I got on a tangent on that, but it's important for people to understand and appreciate that. But people want to be good partners, but we got to communicate to the neighborhoods and to people in the communities as well, so they understand what's happening and how the airports will impact, the surrounding community in the future. It is important. It's
very important, and I don't know of anybody that don't appreciate when they go into like some of these web-based buying sites.
Yes.
Like, it starts with an A. I'm not going to advertise for Amazon, so it starts with an A. They like clicking and saying same-day delivery.
Yep.
If the airport wasn't that active, you wouldn't have same-day delivery, folks.
Yep.
Might as well get it on a mule and a wagon. But it's so important to bring out what's going on. And I still come across people every now and then. Oh, you're in Lakeland? Isn't there an air show in Lakeland?
Yes.
It's a little bit more than an air show, but have you been to Sun and Fun? Says, no, I heard about it. We need to go check it out someday. I said, well, you need to do it sooner than later, because it's getting so big that you're going to have to get a reservation to go into there. And we don't want you to have to wait for a reservation.
No.
I like to get them worrying about it, though, Gene. Oh, I need to get there quick. Says, yeah, as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think for your audience, what's important, is, we've been there for 50 years, and for the aviation enthusiast, the aviator, this is your event. I mean, this is obviously a fly-in. We have over 500 exhibitors that show up, to our event each and every year. All the forums and the workshops as well, very, very important. I know our forums as well, we are outpacing where we were even last year as far as the forums that are being scheduled. And this is the aviation enthusiast, the aviators event. Whether you want to, buy a new airplane, you want to check out the latest and greatest in aviation technology, avionics, or whatnot, this event is for you. And so, Saturday is the stroller derby. Right? I mean, it is packed. And, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, come out and join us. It is very manageable, especially Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Come out and join us, be a part of it. Come see what's happening. And there's programming from when the gates open at 9 a.m. till we close at 9:30. Tuesday night we open the show, daytime air show, all the exhibitors. Opening night concert, Wednesday nights our night air show. All the programming we have at the Paradise City, Sunset Aerial Circus in the evenings. Mm-hmm. Not only Tuesday when we have the concert, if you don't like music, you don't have to go there. You can go to the south, go to Paradise City and Sunset Aerial Circus. But Thursday, Friday, we're down there in Paradise City, and then Saturday night show to wrap it up for the week. But from 9 a.m. till 9:30 every single day, there's activities and things for you.
Gene, this has been an excellent first segment.
It's already over?
But this is just a warm-up.
All right.
For the second segment. This is just warm-up.
Yep.
So, and for folks that are watching this that have any questions, let us know. Send us a question, and we will find an answer. Usually it's the right answer. That's a joke. No, we're going to give you the proper answer. But let us know what you have questions about. And please join us back in for segment number 2 when we come back in for Gene Conrad Dose.